Well, Netflix has finally released its TV series for their final Marvel Defender in Finn Jones as Danny Rand, aka the Iron Fist. The show has been surrounded by a thick haze of negative criticism even before it was officially released, probably causing a lot of people to go into this with a very negative attitude before they've even had a chance to watch the first episode. And I mean, when have people ever gone into something thinking it would be terrible just because some snobby critics said so, only to realize, it wasn't that bad? Okay, that's a bad example. Well, sadly, it really appears as though Marvel did not have their A-team or even their B-team on board at this project, probably choosing to focus more on the upcoming Defenders and Solo Punisher Netflix series, which promise to be much grittier and more action-packed. I mean, where do I start? There's so much corny dialogue, and for a guy who's supposed to be a master of kung fu, the fight scenes felt very slow and looked more like light sparring than full-on fisticuffs. And I mean, Marvel has been accused of having some very unmemorable villains in their work before, but it's almost like they were trying to decide who was worse at being a bad guy with their villains. But we're not here to talk about whether this was the worst Marvel Netflix series yet. Instead, we're here to break down the cliffhanger of an ending and how that will lead into the upcoming Defenders series. So keep in mind, everything from here on out has major spoilers to the Iron Fist TV series as well as the graphic novels, so you've been warned. So here are the major questions Iron Fist leaves audiences with at the end. Why do Davos, Joy Meacham, and possibly Madame Gao all want Danny dead just for Joy to get back some resemblance of her old life? At the end of the last episode, who killed all those members of the Hand, and what happened to the opening to Kunlun? And how will all of that lead into the upcoming Defenders series? Please, for the love of God, be good. And I mean it should, it'll have most of the same directing crew from Daredevil Season 2. So back to my first question with Joy. Nobody was happier to learn that Danny Rand had survived his tragic plane wreck more than childhood friend Joy Meacham. So why does she want him dead all of a sudden? Danny wasn't the only person to come back from the dead that Joy was grateful for. She was happier more so for her father, Harold Meacham, especially since he made amends with her, apologizing for how neglectful of a father he had been, and basically telling her that of my 2 children, I only love you. However, this was all part of Harold's manipulation of her, leading Joy to believe that Danny is not as sweet and innocent as he seems, and for Joy to have her father tragically taken away from her again, even though it was Ward that pulled the trigger, the only person she can blame is Danny. After all, her life was so normal at Rand Enterprises up until Daniel reappeared out of nowhere, and since then, she's learned that Ward has lied to her about pretty much everything, people can come back from the dead, and she was shot in the stomach by a leader of a secret murder clan. A pretty normal week, I'd say, if you're a cast member on The Walking Dead. But anyway, as for Davos and Madame Gao's part in this is where I have to reach into the comic books for answers, so bear with me. Near the end of episode 12, after Danny and Davos fight in the same New York City park where they filmed the last scene in John Wick 2, Davos warns Danny that there will be consequences for his actions of not performing his duties as Iron Fist by killing members of the Hand as well as abandoning his post at Kunlun. And it's no secret that Davos was extremely upset that it was Danny that was chosen and not him to challenge Shao the Dragon in order to become the Iron Fist. So without giving too much away, it doesn't seem like Madame Gao was at the same cafe by mistake. And given Davos' jealousy, it's not going to take much for him to turn into the bad guy. And you'll recall the wingless dragon logo on Madame Gao's heroin packets. So if you put these two together, what you get is a way for Davos to give the middle finger to Kunlun and try to take the powers of the Iron Fist from Danny for himself in Davos' comic villain alias, Steel Serpent. While in the comics, Steel Serpent was never part of the Hand, he was a member of the well-known evil outfit Hydra. Also, the reason Steel Serpent's logo in the comics is the wingless dragon is because Davos did eventually challenge Shao Lao, but only partially succeeded, thus resulting in only absorbing a small part of Shao Lao's power. So as far as the TV series, look out for Steel Serpent to team up with Madame Gao and the Hand, as well as use Joy Meacham's big corporate status to get close to and try to kill Daniel Rand in either Season 2, and it has been confirmed by the actor that he won't be in the Defenders. But as far as who Danny and Colleen Wing just missed when traveling back to the Kunlun entrance, there's really no way of knowing for sure what happened here. The safest speculation says that the Hand found the entrance knowing Danny was supposed to be guarding it and were met by little resistance. But how did the Hand know where this entrance was? If you remember Bakuto, who was left for dead by Davos in episode 12, he is one of the leaders of the Hand and he's been studying the ways of the Iron Fist for many years. That's why he knew things Danny didn't know, like he could harness his chi to heal rather than just punch. So it's safe to assume that Bakuto knew that the entrance that Danny was supposed to be guarding was left wide open. As far as how late Danny and Colleen were to missing their window, summoning my inner detective Misty Knight, I'd say given the snow and the dead bodies, it's been probably less than a week. So how will all of that lead into the Defenders Netflix series? Well, given the teaser trailer, it should come as no shock to anybody that the series' main protagonist will be the Hand. And given that there is still so much in store for the Marvel Netflix series, this won't be the last we see of them, especially since all our Defenders will be getting a second season and Daredevil will be getting a third. There is still the rumor circulating that the series could take the Shadowland comic storyline, which would make the series much darker, and we're still unsure how the Punisher will directly tie into the Defenders, if he'll join, or if because the Defenders are for the most part opposed to killing, whether or not they'll try to stop him. If I can give my thoughts on why I consider the Iron Fist series a fail, it's that even though you can call Iron Fist the most important Defender given the fact that it is his sole purpose to defeat the Hand, he really leaves the least memorable impression. What gives the other heroes their much deserved praise is that they work so well on their own. Daredevil was the first to bring a street level grittiness to superheroes that was lacking at the time, and also we all needed to forget about Ben Affleck's go with the character. Jessica Jones touched on multiple real-world issues facing women and worked so well as a crime drama. And Luke Cage touched on very relevant issues facing black men in America. So what does Iron Fist touch on? Corporate embezzling and white guys who practice karate in their garage? Basically, without the other Defenders, Iron Fist is the odd man out. So it'll be interesting to say the least to see how all these different characters gel together in the upcoming Netflix series. And that's everything I have for the Any Explained of Iron Fist. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe below, and tell me your thoughts on this series. Tell me if there was anything I missed, and also be sure to comment which Netflix series has been your favorite so far, and which are you looking forward to the most. Mine has to be the first season of Jessica Jones, and the solo Punisher series more than Defenders. And don't forget, as always, this is 5 Things Explains Everything with the Fingabang Show. I'm out.